Listen closely. What you are about to hear may spare you years of heartache, confusion, and wasted effort. After immersing myself in the study of human behavior, ancient teachings, and the intricate dance of relationships for over a decade, I've come to recognize 5 pivotal phrases. When a man speaks them, they shine a light on his intentions with such clarity that ignoring them would be like sleeping through a fire alarm in your own home. These aren't just red flags, they're psychological weapons cloaked in everyday conversation. And once you recognize them, you can't unhear them. Make sure you stay true to the end, because the final phrase is the most camouflaged, the most disarming, and tragically, the one most women overlook. It could very well be the most vital insight you gain about safeguarding your energy this year. But before we dive into these phrases, there's a deeper understanding you need to embrace. One that will forever alter how you interpret your interactions with men. For generations, women have been taught to offer grace, to focus on potential rather than reality, to nurture instead of protect. This conditioning runs so deep that many of us have lost touch with a primal, necessary skill, detecting emotional danger. Let's not sugarcoat it. Some men are emotional predators. They wield language as their tool, using calculated phrases to test your boundaries, chip away at your standards, and make you question your value. According to the philosophy of Shi Heng Yi, words are not just sounds, they are carriers of energy. When someone speaks to you, they are transmitting more than meaning. They are sending you their state of being, their inner motives, and their level of regard for you. That is why certain conversations can leave you feeling inexplicably depleted, confused, or doubting yourself. Your body sensed the manipulation, even if your mind was trying to explain it away. What I'm offering isn't just relationship advice, it's a form of energetic self-defense. Because here's the truth no one emphasizes enough. The man you choose affects more than your love life. He impacts your confidence, your friendships, your career, your health, your finances, and your connection to your own spirit. Choose poorly, and you may spend years mending what he broke. Choose wisely, or better yet, learn to swiftly walk away from the wrong ones, and you open the door for something deeply nourishing to take root. Let's begin. You're too sensitive, or its cousins. You're overreacting. You're being dramatic. At first glance, this phrase might seem like a simple opinion, but dig deeper and you'll find a weapon aimed directly at your self-trust. What's happening here is not a benign observation, it's a calculated dismissal. When a man tells you you're too sensitive, he's not engaging with the content of your feelings. He's undermining the validity of your emotional reality. This tactic serves to gaslight you into compliance. He wants you to feel ashamed for reacting in a way that inconveniences him. Your emotional response, which may be entirely justified, is rebranded as irrational or excessive. And once that seed of doubt is planted, it begins to grow roots. Over time, you may start second-guessing yourself before expressing anything. You'll rehearse conversations in your head, wondering how not to come across as too emotional. You begin filtering your own authenticity through a lens of fear. This is how emotional control begins, not with shouting or violence, but with small, strategic erosions of your confidence. But let's be clear. Sensitivity is not a weakness. It is a radar. It is your body's finely tuned instrument of truth. A man who honors you will value your sensitivity because it brings depth to the relationship. He'll want to understand, not silence. Respectfully, he'll respect that your feelings are valid reflections of your lived experience, not inconvenient obstacles to his comfort. Phrase 2, I'm just being honest, or I'm just telling you the truth. This phrase often arrives like a backhand. It's spoken after a moment of cruelty, perhaps disguised as casual commentary. And then, to make it sting even more, It's followed by a sanctimonious disclaimer. I'm just being honest. The implication is clear. You're too fragile to handle the truth. But the real truth is this. He's not being honest. He's being unkind. When a man uses honesty as a weapon, what he's offering isn't truth. It's an excuse to be hurtful without accountability. He'll mask insults as constructive criticism, ridicule your dreams under the pretense of realism, or point out your vulnerabilities under the guise of concern. It creates a confusing narrative where emotional pain is seen as a weakness and verbal cruelty becomes something you should thank him for. This kind of behavior systematically erodes self-worth. It conditions you to tolerate disrespect because it comes wrapped in the language of transparency. You begin to mistrust your own pain, to downplay your instincts, to accept that being emotionally wounded is simply part of being loved. But honesty, in its highest form, is an act of kindness. It's about clarity with compassion. It's truth wrapped in timing, tone, and empathy. A man who truly cares will never make you question your value in the name of truth. He will protect your dignity even when he speaks hard words. So when you hear, "I'm just being honest," pause. Ask yourself, does this truth make you feel empowered or small? Does it feel like an act of love or control? Discernment begins when you stop mistaking criticism for clarity. Phrase 3. You're being controlling. This phrase is often thrown out like a smoke bomb in a relationship. You state a need calmly, clearly, and suddenly the ground shifts. You are no longer communicating, you are accused of controlling. But what is really being challenged isn't your behavior. It's your right to have needs at all. This phrase is often used to dismantle the ballast of power. It reframes your healthy boundaries as character flaws. By labeling your needs as control, he attempts to reclaim the upper hand and paint himself as the victim of your self-respect. He might say this when you ask for emotional availability, or when you voice discomfort with something that crosses your boundaries. You might hear it when you say you want more consistency, or even when you express a desire for deeper commitment. Suddenly, the narrative becomes about your supposed overreach rather than his avoidance of accountability. But here's the truth. Advocating for your needs isn't control, it's courage. Communicating your standards isn't manipulation, it's maturity. A relationship without boundaries is a breeding ground for imbalance and resentment. And any man who labels your self-respect as a threat is showing you exactly how little he values your emotional safety. A healthy relationship thrives when both people can speak their truth without fear of punishment. It's built on mutual respect, not dominance. If a man hears your boundaries and responds with accusation rather than conversation, he's not seeking partnership. He's seeking control. Phrase 4. I'm not ready for a relationship. This phrase can seem honest, respectful even. It sounds like clarity. But when it's paired with behavior that mirrors a committed relationship, regular contact, emotional intimacy, shared experiences, it becomes a form of manipulation. It's the hallmark of the situationship. Emotionally involved, physically present, spiritually entangled, but always just out of reach. You become the almost in someone's life. Almost loved, almost chosen, almost prioritized, but never fully claimed. This is one of the most emotionally draining positions to be in. You're constantly trying to earn the next level, believing that if you just love harder, give more, wait longer, he'll suddenly wake up and be ready. But readiness isn't a reward you unlock through suffering. It's a choice someone makes when they recognize your worth. Men who are not ready for commitment, but engage in deeply intimate dynamics, often do so because they enjoy the benefits without the accountability. They are not confused. They are comfortable. They know they can receive love, attention, and emotional support without having to offer clarity or commitment in return. When a man tells you he's not ready, listen. But don't just listen to his words. Watch his actions. Do they align with respect, honesty, and boundaries? Or are they laced with ambiguity and emotional dependence? The man who is truly ready doesn't keep you guessing. He makes space for you. He makes it known that he wants you, not just for now, but for real. Anything less than that is not romance. It's emotional ambiguity dressed as honesty. Phrase 5. You've changed. The most subtle and yet the most emotionally devastating of them all. This phrase slips in under the radar, often delivered with a sigh, a distant look, a quiet reproach. You've changed. And in those two words, your entire evolution is framed as a loss. This phrase usually arrives when you begin to stand taller, speak louder, take up more space. When you've stopped compromising your truth. When you're no longer as available, as pleasing, as willing to shrink yourself for his comfort. What he's really saying is, you no longer fit the mold I created for you. He's not mourning your growth, he's mourning his control. He's grieving the version of you that was easier to manage. This statement is dangerous because it targets your core identity. It suggests that in becoming more of yourself, you've somehow become less lovable. It makes you question whether your strength is the problem, whether your confidence is the reason for the emotional distance. But you are not meant to stay the same. Growth is not betrayal. It is the very essence of being alive. A relationship that cannot accommodate your evolution is a relationship that has reached its limit. A man who loves you for who you are will celebrate your expansion. He will grow alongside you, not pull you backward. He will see your becoming as a blessing, not a threat. Never apologize for evolving. Never dim your light to fit into a dimmed space. The right man won't fear your growth. He'll rise with it. Now that you recognize these 5 phrases for what they are, this isn't a call to cynicism. It's a call to discernment. There are men who honor love as sacred, who build safety with their words and integrity with their actions. But you can't see them clearly if your vision is clouded by trying to decode the intentions of those who harm you. Start paying attention to how you feel after conversations. Do you feel expanded or diminished, uplifted or uncertain, energized or exhausted? Your body knows what your mind may try to overlook. And remember this, walking away from someone who doesn't value you isn't heartless, it's holy. It's an act of self-respect. You don't owe anyone your healing, your education, or your silence. You owe yourself truth, wholeness, a love that doesn't ask you to shrink to fit. The love you seek is seeking you too, but it can only find you when you stop settling. Real love won't demand your compromise, it will feel like peace. It will feel like home. Trust that, choose that, and never, ever settle for less than that again. And in that wholeness, something magical happens. You become magnetic. Not because you're seeking, but because you're sovereign. Not because you're perfect, but because you're present. So breathe deeply, stand tall, speak clearly, and remember, the love you give yourself sets the standard for every other love in your life. This is your time to rise. This is your time to return to yourself. Let nothing and no one pull you away again.